Alright, mates. Here's part 2. I am actually over at Stump Pass Beach State Park. I've been actually chilling out here for a good while, just relaxing. You know, it's a gorgeous day out, so I figured why not. So, I just made another video just a moment ago. Gosh, some of the red tide is out here today. My last video was talking about, a little bit of an introduction about the train derailment that's happened in East Palestine, Ohio. And, I was kind of talking about introductory, mostly, and what really happened. But this video, I want to cover more on what were some of the other chemical compounds that were released and were basically found in water and soil, which are very sensitive resources already. So I actually had to do a little bit of a cheat sheet because some of the names of these compounds I would not remember basically off the top of my head. There was no way, because some of them had really long names. And quite frankly, I believe some of the names are made to be complicated so that they're not remembered as easily. Who can say? But anyway, one of the, my last video I was talking about, initially it was believed vinyl chloride and hydrochloride were released, but there was actually more to it, as a couple of days were passing by. As the EPA was doing further testing. So other gases that were basically released included Ethylene Glycol Monobutyl Ether. Holy cow. That is a long name. But this particular gas has carcinogens, which are basically cancer-causing agents. And it is said that upon exposure to this particular compound, you can experience hematuria, which involves your blood, nervous system depression. So what that basically means is your nervous system is not functioning as fully as it should be, and some other symptoms can just simply be headaches, too. But hematuria, the first symptom that I mentioned, is mostly like blood and urine. So, basically, ruptured veins or arteries. So, in other words, not good. Now, for another, aside from that one, a third one that was found during these tests included the Ethylexyl Acrylate. Interesting. Same thing. It's another carcinogen. And apparently, the exposure to this particular vapor can cause burning and irritation in the eyes, short breath, and coughing. So, so far, these compounds that I've been listing have been found in the water and the soil. At least at the site of the train wreck. No pun intended. So the third compound that's been found is called Isobutylene. Also a carcinogen, but it is believed to mostly cause dizziness and drowsiness. So, all of these compounds that I speak of are symptoms according to the CDC. That's just what's known, anyways. So, it was noted that shortly after the train wreck happened, the citizens had to be evacuated. And what was particularly strange was, only after a few days, the citizens had the permission to basically return to their home. Which I think they should have been away longer than that. Just because testing for those types of compounds, and that was something just recently discovered, there could be even more that may not have even been found yet. And that's really the point, is why were they given permission to return home already? I don't know. But aside from that, the difficulty is, some of them might be recommended to move away or to try to gain access to healthcare. And I think a lot of us know how healthcare already is in the United States. It's very expensive, and it's just hard to get a hold of. I mean, of course, that doesn't speak on behalf of everyone, but for a lot of people, it is. But, with the particular company itself, the rail company, it is believed that the EPA is actually holding them accountable, because it was not believed, but the Norfolk Southern Rail Company was actually, they were laying off a lot of workers, and they weren't granting them the right for a strike, as well as even allowing paid sick days. And this was, this gets a bit more political, but apparently it was involving mixture with the Biden administration. But frankly, I'm not quite expertise on that, so I'm not going to present false info. But anyways, basically, the company, the rail company, they did that, and then they did a lot of buybacks, so that the company could basically make profits and not fully be held accountable. And so they weren't really willing to provide strikes allowed for employees, because if they did, all of this likely would have never happened. And for another, if there were more workers, the train loads could be divided a bit more. But in this particular case, it wasn't. They were up to 50, which is insane. So, it's really one of those deals that needs more coverage, and it's just another example of corruption occurring and raising environmental and human health concerns. Because you got to figure, East Palestine is right by the Ohio River, and so you figure some of those chemicals that I'm speaking of, it's not only going to affect the citizens of East Palestine, it's also going to go through the Ohio River and affect the wildlife in there and the water quality, and it's going to affect other people, who basically reside throughout the Ohio River Valley, which will then eventually meet up with the Mississippi River. And this can also cause an occurrence called biomagnification, which It's similar to bioaccumulation, but the difference is with biomagnification, if a particular toxin is present in water, it will then be present in algae, which will then be present in the organism that consumes that algae. So basically, the toxin, as it goes through the food chain, the toxin content becomes worse. And so we just have to pay more attention to this, because I feel like it's not really being mentioned as much as it should be. I mean, point in fact, I only first found out about it just a couple of days ago, which even surprised me. So, alright, you guys, this video is 11 minutes long, so I think this is a good point to wrap up. Alright, take care, you guys. See ya.